Not the best way to start off Father's Day, but it's all right. We're almost there. Got it running. Let's go to church. Cool. I'm gonna film some of this axe throwing here. Okay, so even though the morning didn't start out that great, this is something really cool here.
Really?
This guy.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations.
Hey, this guy.
Hey.
Is awesome. Let's check this out. That was a lot of fun. So today is day 140 in the vlog, and we're looking at Psalm 111 through Psalm 118. It's 8 Psalms. Now before you start losing it with how many Psalms we're going to be going over right now, these Psalms are pretty short. And not only are they pretty short, but they really communicate one main idea in a variety of different ways. And I think that one main idea that they communicate is God is great. You know, it's really tricky when we start trying to define God in our human and English language. We can use some of the greatest words in our vocabulary, and they won't even begin to scratch the surface as to how really incredible and great God is. Psalm 111 talks about how great the works of the Lord are. Psalm 112 is talking about how those who fear the Lord, they delight in His commands, and the Lord keeps those who trust Him. Psalm 113 just asks this question, like, who is like God? Psalm 114, the earth like trembles at His presence. We see countless examples in the New Testament as well as the Old Testament when the laws of nature are at the mercy of God and Him coming, and it shows His power and His greatness. Psalm 115 is all about that there is no other God like our God, that He is the one true God, and all the glory belongs to Him and not to us. Psalm 116, we praise the Lord because He has heard us. Psalm 117, which I believe is the shortest psalm out of all of them, is simply a psalm of praising the Lord. And Psalm 118 sings about the steadfast love of God, no matter wherever we find ourselves. If we find ourselves in a good and prosperous season or in a dry and challenging season, the Lord is good and His steadfast love remains. One of the things that really intrigues me about these 8 Psalms, speaking of the greatness of God, is what it says about us, what it says about humans in these Psalms. You know, even the whole idea of like God hearing us, God working and moving in our midst. The reason why that is such a beautiful thing is because of the fact that we are undeserving. Like, we don't deserve to be heard from God. We don't deserve to have God do all these good and wonderful works, but yet He does it anyway. And that just speaks to, not that the greatness of God finds its validity in how it's measured based on who we are, but it just adds to the validity of how great God is, that us as humans, we're deserving of death, we're deserving of being separated from God for all eternity, but yet he makes that reconciliation happen. And it just blows our minds that God would do that. In Psalm 118, verse 22, we find that it is quoted a few times in the New Testament, in particular in the Synoptic Gospels, which is Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And the context in which Psalm 118, verse 22 is quoted is when Jesus is telling this parable of these wicked tenants, that the master, he had some land, and he went away for a while, and he gave this land to these tenants, and he kept sending messengers back to the land to get some of the produce, just to kind of see how things were going. And all the messengers that he was sending, the tenants would humiliate. They would beat, they would bruise them and send them back. So the master has this grand idea of sending his own son, and in hopes that the tenants would respect the fact that it's the son of the master, but instead the tenants actually kill him so that they can get the goods, so that they can get the inheritance. And it's in this context that Jesus quotes this psalm in reference to the fact that that generation in which Jesus had arrived, in which he was incarnate to, that they had rejected the chief cornerstone. And it's a reminder for us that in the context of God's greatness and in the context of what Jesus talks about there in the Gospels, that it's Christ himself, Christ alone. He is our prize. He is what we're after. And he is the chief cornerstone that so many people have rejected, and even you and I, at a time in our life, rejected. And it's a reminder for us just to turn to Jesus, to trust in Jesus, and to make our lives all about him. I know you didn't see it there, but I hit the bullseye twice for the axe throwing thing. That was awesome. Cool Father's Day gift.